Hey guys, today we're going to be discussing a video I came across by Flat Earth neurotard Nathan Thompson. In this video, Nathan Thompson attempts to provide proof that the Earth is flat while bouncing a golf ball on a sledgehammer. I believe it's worth noting that Mr. Thompson is the founder of the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion page on Facebook. With 88,000 members and this video having 21,000 views, how is it that you only have 470 likes and about 870 dislikes? Either flat earthers have stopped believing you or you are an idiot.
Strength, intuition, to keep the ball on top of the sledgehammer. Alright, here we go. Alright, astrolabes prove flat Earth because on a globe everything's supposed to be spinning and orbiting around in space and we wouldn't see the same thing year after year.
So I can count 3 problems with his first argument already. 1. Nathan Thompson does not understand how humongous the universe actually is. Alpha Centauri, which is the star nearest to our sun, is over 4 light years away, and each light year is almost 6 trillion miles long. At these distances, to measure an observable difference in direction, you would not only need an advanced degree in astronomy, but you would also need powerful and precise equipment. And astronomers have been using powerful and precise equipment to make these observations for decades. 2. The size of the Earth's orbit when compared to the size of the entire Milky Way galaxy is minuscule and therefore would not result in any additional apparent motion of stars throughout the sky. It should be noted that the orbit of the Earth around the Sun is directly responsible for stellar parallax though. And 3. The year-to-year timescale at which you're comparing your observations is simply too small. You would need centuries, if not millennia, of observations to notice an observable change in motion. Nathan Thompson, you are an idiot.
Compasses prove the Earth is flat because you have to hold them flat for them to work. A compass in the southern hemisphere would actually be pointing off into outer space, not at the North Pole, so I don't know how that works.
Well, at least you can admit that you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to compasses, because you are wrong on both accounts. Number 1, not every compass needs to be held perfectly level to get it to work. Global needles, for instance, can be tilted up to 20 degrees and still point to the North or South Poles. Number 2, compasses that work in the northern hemisphere only work in the northern hemisphere, and compasses that work in the southern hemisphere only work in the southern hemisphere. If you are going to be making scientific claims about the functionality of compasses, I suggest you do your research because you are an idiot.
We'll go with a really simple one. Water has no convexity. Water's flat. Bedford level proves that.
The Bedford level experiment is a staple to any flat earther's argument. This experiment was conducted by Samuel Rowbotham around 1838. In this experiment, Mr. Rowbotham had his friend paddle down the Bedford River 6 miles. The Bedford River is a completely flat river, and according to globe Earth calculations, there should have been an observed drop of approximately 24 feet due to the curvature of the Earth. Mr. Rowbotham could see his friend and the rowboat in its entirety. Therefore, Mr. Rowbotham concluded that the Earth must be flat. However, Mr. Rowbotham did not take into account atmospheric refraction. When taking into account atmospheric refraction, it is not only possible on a globe Earth, but it is proof for a globe Earth. You, my friend, are an idiot.
The laser experiments that I've been seeing prove that. Sight distances prove that. The fact you can zoom in on ships that have gone in past the horizon, that proves that water's flat, so...
Yeah, well maybe you can explain why you or no other flat earther ever has gone out to the beach with a telescope and observed a ship going 50 miles out to sea. This observation should be cheap and easy to make and would 100% debunk the globe Earth model. However, due to the Earth being a globe, there is a point at which an object will travel that no telescope, no matter how strong its zoom in, can pull it back into view because it has traversed the horizon. Mr. Thompson, you are an idiot.
Also, corpuscular rays from the sun prove the sun is close and not 93 million miles away.
Actually, crepuscular rays do not prove the distance of the sun whatsoever. All rays of light, by nature, will appear to an observer to move parallel to one another. Due to perspective, these rays will appear to diverge from one point as they approach an observer and converge to a similar point as they leave an observer. This is completely due to perspective and has nothing to do with the distance of the sun from the observer. You are an idiot.
The drastic variations in temperatures throughout the day, from sunrise to high noon to sunset, whew, those are difficult.
Like most flat earthers and most flat earth arguments, you're only about 10% right. While the presence of sunlight is generally responsible for the differences in daytime versus nighttime temperatures, local temperature conditions are affected more by atmospheric conditions around them. That's why if a wind current from the north blows in, it all of a sudden feels cold. So I'm not going to call you an idiot because you're not educated on weather phenomenon, but since you acted like you were, you are an idiot.
Another proof the Earth is flat is they throw it in our face with the UN logo. Boom, divided into 33 sections.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time disproving this claim. The UN's logo is simply a two-dimensional representation of the three-dimensional globe Earth. What I will say is that if the shape of the Earth is the greatest secret and the greatest lie ever told to the human population, then why would the world's largest international organization use it for its logo? You and flat earthers are idiots.
Another proof the Earth is flat is, alright, star trails. Star trails have no progressive motion through space.
We covered this one earlier in the video. The stars are simply too far away and you don't have enough time to make comparable measurements to observe progressive motion of stars.
So, what else we got? Another proof the Earth is flat is airplanes. They don't adjust for curvature.
Airplanes don't have to adjust for curvature. Thank you, gravity.
So the FAA trains pilots on what's called a TGF. It's a target generation facility. The TGF is a flat Earth simulator they spent millions of dollars to develop. And it also states in the software that there is no accounting for gravity or the Earth's spin.
I must admit, before debunking this video, I had no idea what the Target Generation Facility, or TGF, actually was. However, after doing a little bit of research, I have found out that the TGF is in no way a flat Earth simulator. It is actually a two-dimensional representation of objects flying through a three-dimensional space, and is not used by the FAA to train pilots, but is used by the FAA to train air traffic controllers. And since it is simply a simulation, there is no need to take into account gravity or the rotation of the Earth. You are an idiot.
So the Earth's stationary. That's another proof Earth's not a spinning ball, is the Earth's stationary. Every test ever performed and everything you can see with your eyes confirms that. Michelson-Morley proved that we're not moving through space. Sagnac proved that, we're not moving through space. Airy's failure proved we're not moving through space. That's why it's a failure.
All three experiments that you have provided as proof for a flat and stationary Earth all failed due to one key aspect: the assumption that an ether was not only present, but absolutely necessary for light to travel through. And Einstein disproved this theory with his paper on special relativity. In fact, not even one of those three experiments were even designed to test if the Earth is flat or not. You are an idiot.
Here's another one, a really big one. The marine horizon is always flat and rises to eye level. How about that?
Catch me outside, how about that?
Actually, you're factually incorrect. Most smartphones have access to theodolite apps that can accurately measure the drop in horizon with the increase in elevation on an airplane. It is because of this fact alone that most intelligent flat earthers, if there are such things, have completely abandoned the horizon rising to eye level argument. However, you are an idiot.
Sight distances on land prove the Earth is flat. So if you stand on the other side of Lake Michigan, you can see the Chicago skyline when the entire thing should be underwater. Not a portion of it, the entire thing.
The only problem that I see with your argument here is that you are not taking into account atmospheric conditions that lead to atmospheric refraction and reflection. This is completely why sight distances, especially over water, are completely dependent upon the atmospheric conditions when the observations are made.
What else we got? Another thing, all the NASA astronauts are Freemasons and liars.
According to multiple online sources, of the 536 people that have been to space, only 7 have actually been Freemasons, and another 5 had fathers who were Freemasons. Even if I give you all 12 of those astronauts as having direct ties to Freemasons, that still only accounts for 2.2% of all the people that have been to space. You are a liar and an idiot.
They all take blood oaths to lie to you guys, and then you defend them on the internet when I confront them at Starbucks like a fool.
Yeah, well, most honest people do not appreciate an uneducated, unintelligent, dishonest, disingenuous jackass like yourself maliciously confronting a NASA employee while he's at Starbucks getting his coffee about the lies of which you have no proof even exist. Nathan, you are an idiot.
Oh yeah, Foucault pendulum. Occult pendulum? Now please, tell me, if a pendulum that proves the Earth is spinning, if that's proof the Earth is spinning, how come anything that's hanging doesn't start doing one of these mothers right here? Anything hanging, if Foucault pendulum proves spinning Earth, should be doing one of those.
Foucault's pendulum was a device invented by Léon Foucault at the Paris Observatory in 1851. The pendulum was designed to accurately and repeatedly demonstrate the rotation of the Earth. The engineering design of the pendulum allows it to swing freely without any force interference due to this rotation. So when constructed properly, a free-swinging pendulum will also precess 360 degrees over the length of a day. However, any application of any force to the pendulum will alter its motion along with its precession. Do you really think that by hanging a sledgehammer from your hand, you are actually recreating the Foucault pendulum experiment? You are an idiot.
Another proof the Earth is flat is you don't get heavier the farther away you go from the equator. So if Earth's a spinning ball, centrifugal force is still a thing. The spinning ball Earth is going to be attempting to hurl you off. I know we have, magic pseudoscience gravity, but even if gravity were real, as you leave the equator, you should get heavier and heavier and heavier. Same way if you're on a merry-go-round and you're going around the outside, and then you move towards the inside, you're going to notice less and less centrifugal force, or less and less outward pull. So that's another proof the Earth's flat.
Actually, Mr. Thompson, you are almost correct here, but like most flat Earth scientists, you've made some pretty big assumptions instead of doing some fairly easy calculations. As you get further away from the equator, you travel less linear distance in the same amount of time as someone who is on the equator. These differences in latitudes directly result in a difference of centrifugal forces. So let's calculate these differences ourselves. You look like you weigh about 50 kilograms, so we'll use that to estimate the change in weight from the equator to 1 degree south of the North Pole. Given that the gravitational pull is fairly consistent around the globe with minor measurable differences in certain places, we can assert that the gravitational force acting upon you would be approximately 490.33 newtons everywhere on the planet. The centrifugal force trying to throw you off varies at different latitudes due to the linear velocity slowing down to 0 as it approaches the pole in either direction. The linear velocity at any latitude can be calculated as follows: 2 pi times the radius of the Earth times the cosine of the latitude divided by the number of seconds in a day. For our example, your linear velocity at 89 degrees north latitude would be approximately 26.49 meters per second, and your linear velocity at the equator would be approximately 463 meters per second. Calculating for centrifugal force is easy. It's simply the mass of an object times its linear velocity squared divided by the circumference of the Earth. At the equator, you have a centrifugal force of approximately 1.681 newtons pushing you outwards, and at 89 degrees north, you have a centrifugal force of approximately 0.006 newtons acting against gravity. Can you see a problem with your argument yet? While the centrifugal force is 1.7 newtons at the equator, there is 490.33 newtons of gravitational force pulling you down. Calculating further, we can determine that you at 89 degrees north would weigh 1.003 times your weight at the equator. In other words, if you weigh 50 kilograms at the equator, at 89 degrees north, you would only weigh 50.17 kilograms. You really should math check yourself before making these wild assertions because you look like an idiot.
So yeah, pictures from space. They're all fake, so that's cool. Can't find a legit one.
The fake pictures from space argument is probably the most idiotic claim that all flat earthers consistently make. First, most pictures of Earth are taken from low Earth orbit and aren't far enough away to make a complete photo of the entire globe in one snapshot. For those pictures, a complete Earth is created using composites of actual photographs. This method sometimes results in patches of the Earth that unfortunately don't get pictured. Space agencies do their best to make up for these small errors, but in general, the photograph is legitimate. Second, even if you were presented with an actual photo of the globe Earth, like for instance the Japanese Himawari 8 satellite that takes a full globe Earth picture every 10 minutes that is 100% verifiable with local weather patterns, you would not accept it. Flat earthers are known for their selective acceptance of observable evidence because flat earthers are idiots.
Countries, I don't even care if you say, oh, how would you know what a real picture looks like? The countries are changing sizes, guys. United States is this big in one picture, and it's this big in another picture. That doesn't make any sense, okay?
Well, obviously, when an object moves towards or away from an observer, they change in apparent size due to perspective. Compound that with the fact that the objects are also on a spinning globe, and then really confuse your observations by taking the photo from different cameras at different distances and at different times, and you will obviously notice a considerable difference in their apparent size. What doesn't make sense is that flat earthers like yourself prescribe perspective when an observation supports their claim, but willfully ignores perspective when it contradicts their belief. Nathan Thompson, you are intellectually dishonest and you are an idiot.
Marine snipers do not adjust for the Coriolis effect. Miguel Michael Angel can confirm that. He posted his exit paperwork from the military yesterday.
The Coriolis effect on a sniper's accuracy is very minute and considered intangible on shots of less than 1 kilometer. However, shots of over 1 kilometer in distance will be affected slightly by the rotation of the Earth. The Coriolis effect is most notable on weather patterns, as all hurricanes in the northern hemisphere rotate counterclockwise and all hurricanes in the southern hemisphere rotate clockwise.
Rex Harrison is a Marine sniper and a stuntman. When he shoots a bullet or he jumps out of a moving car, he does not adjust for the Coriolis.
Wait, what the? Did you just say that a stuntman jumping out of a car and not having to adjust for the Coriolis effect is actual proof of a flat Earth? You are an idiot.
So, all the physicists can tell you, if Earth was a spinning ball orbiting around the sun, we would have 3 types of angular momentum. So,
while actual physicists will agree with you that all 3 forces of angular momentum should be felt, only YouTube physicists will agree that this is actual proof of no cosmic motion and a flat Earth. You are an idiot. So we're going to end this video on this argument right here. And if you stayed till the end, I truly appreciate it, because Nathan Thompson is an idiot. I'd like to take the time out to thank Nathan Thompson, his little sledgehammer, and tiny golf ball for this moderately tolerable video he provided for me to debunk. Every time you put out another ignorant flat earth video, you will be watching over your shoulders, waiting for me to debunk it because Nathan Thompson, you are an idiot. I'm Father Skeptic, and I'm out.